Hello everyone, welcome to this short little guide about Gangplank. In this video, I'm gonna show you what runes and items you are gonna need as Gangplank. About me, if you don't know who I am, I have been Masters for the last 2 seasons. This season, I have peaked Grandmaster. I'm a Gangplank main. I have peaked rank 1 EU and rank 1 worldwide as Gangplank. I have been a D1 with an 85% win rate on the champ. And as I said, today I'm gonna tell you in what situations you want what runes and why. So first of all, we're gonna start with the runes and then we're gonna come to the items. For the runes, it's a no-brainer. You just go grasp. In the past, I've seen people that went into the yellow tree and tried fleet footwork. Now that fleet has been nerfed in the past, and obviously Klepto is no more, grasp is gonna be your choice number one. There's I believe no other situations. If you're playing APGP or something, you might go Dark Harvest or Comet or I don't know. But if you play on a serious basis, Grasp is always what you want to take. That's a no-brainer. On the second tree, you want to take Demolish for one simple reason. You do not profit from Shield Bash or Font of Life. So Demolish is always going to be your second choice. For the third one, it's kind of depending. So let's say you're playing against a champion that has a lot of overtime damage. The best example I have here is maybe Singed. If you're playing against a Singed, you always want to go second win just because you profit from that rune way more than bone plating. And a Singed is always going to proc bone plating with ease. It's no problem for a Singed, especially for a good Singed player or any champion that deals overtime damage to proc this, and then just you basically have no rune here. So against champions that have overtime damage, you want to take second win, but most of the time you do want to go bone plating. Champions like Renekton or Jace that can burst you in a combo, or basically any other champ. You have more value if you go bone plating. So yeah, it's depending. Second win is better in some ranged matchups maybe as well that don't have too much burst damage, but bone plating is almost always going to be your number one. For the third one, it's also kind of interesting, right? You can go Revitalize or Overgrowth while this man is chatting with me, whatever. So when I like to go Overgrowth is basically if I don't see how I get enough value from Revitalize. Um, and how I know that Revitalize has value is, for example, if I have something like an Enchanter on me, if I have a Lulu on my team, a Soraka, a Yumi, I'm probably always gonna, or a Nidalee in the jungle even, you know, where I get some kind of healing and I have more value taking this, I would definitely prioritize this. But Overgrowth is also really good just because you get more HP, but Unflinching is kind of useless on Gangplank, so it's always gonna be a choice between these two. It's kind of a what you prefer. It's basically that. If you want more HP in the late game, you can take Overgrowth. If you want to heal more, receive more shields, stronger heals, you want to go Revitalize. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the green tree. Green tree. So basically, Demolish, no-brainer. These two depending, and these two depending. Unflinching and whatever that is, conditioning is pretty useless on GP. And for the second tree, we have multiple choices. So now, as of as of right now, Biscuit Delivery has been nerfed by a lot. What I like to do is strongly champion dependent. What that means is if I'm playing against the tank, the greediest, or like a champion that cannot bully me very well, the greediest option you have is to go Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight. This gives you the most value the longer the game progresses, but you have to be careful since you do not have cookies and you do not have Time Warp. So you're lacking sustain a bit, but again, against tanks, this is the greediest option you have. And I would always prefer to go these two just because they have such huge value. Like, summoner spells are going to be low HP, low cooldown. Boots are going to come in handy for free. If I'm playing against a bruiser or a lane bully that I can win if I have the tools, if you play GP well enough, I like to go Biscuit and Time Warp Tonic. Just because you do have more skirmish potential with this. What that means is you're going to get a burst of healing, you're also going to have movement speed while you heal, and Biscuit Delivery is just going to give you, in general, more sustain in lane. the rest is just like if you're playing in something in between, like a range champ or whatever, or something that you say to yourself, I can play this matchup without that much sustain. You can go Biscuit Delivery and Cosmic Insight as well if you say you don't need Time Warp Tonic for those close fights. If you want to stand back more and if you want to just poke and not go for all-ins, this is going to be your choice. What I wouldn't recommend is going Boots and Cookies. I've also seen people do that. I personally, if I do not go Time Warp Tonic, I like to take Cosmic Insight just because I like the summoner spell haste you have, and yeah, it's just a. But I mean, if you prefer to have free boots and chill until the 12th minute, because I do like to get early boots sometimes, especially in matchups that maybe have more mobility or something. Um, Go ahead and take Boots and Cookies, but that is basically these options that you have. That's pretty much it. And of course, here at the last tree over here, what I see many people do, which is a big mistake, is sometimes they take CDR, or I mean, most of the times people do take attack speed if they're wrong. This is just bad for two reasons. First of all, GP's E shreds armor, so the barrel's just, I believe 40% of armor is just gone if you hit a barrel correctly. So AD is just gonna profit way more from this. That means AD is gonna come through and just gonna deal more damage. And second of all, your Q deals 100% AD scaling. So basically, those 9 AD you have, every Q you shoot, you're gonna have 9 more damage. That's pretty huge. And especially in the early game, you're not going to trade as much with auto attacks as Gangplank. You're just going to play around your passive. So attack speed is useless in my opinion. And others agree. Like the AD just has so much value in lane with your E, with your Q. And for the last three, it's obviously MR if you're against AP. Take armor if you're against AD. And if you don't know what you're up against, I would recommend you to go HP, because you do not want to gamble on what you're up against, because it really sucks to have armor in an MR matchup and vice versa. So just take HP if you're not certain what you're up against. It's just gonna be a safe call. It's pretty much it for the runes. There's not much to say more about it. And what is more interesting about GP is, of course, the items. So obviously, this has changed a lot in the past. What I mean by that is, for example, earlier on the season, a Sense Reaver was your go-to item. Then it was Triforce, and currently it is Divine Thunder, because Divine Thunder has been buffed to shit. It's an OP item at the moment. And why it's also strong on GP at the moment is because you build it from Phage and Sheen. Sheen obviously is the best item on Gangplank early game, but the Phage also comes in handy compared to a Axe here, because a Phage is always, like, as a Gangplank, you're always going to be poking, and you're going to profit from that healing you get from Phage. And obviously, when you complete the item, it's just the healing you get from it is absurd, in my opinion. It still needs nerfs, but Divine Thunder is objectively the strongest item at the moment. You can go a Sense Reaver still. It's obviously a weaker item. The only reason I would ever go a Sense Reaver is if I see my team's behind and I kind of need to 1v9. So I just gamble on full crit. That is where I would go a Sense Reaver, and where it's needed that I carry the game. And Triforce is just kind of a quality of life item, in my opinion. What I mean by that is this is the only item you get attack speed on. Attack speed is going to be important when you're going to reach level 13, when your barrels are going to go down faster. Attack speed is definitely something you do want to have later on in the game. Also, the Mythic has very good buffs to other legendaries. I believe it gives you movement speed, armor, and haste. That's also not bad. But yeah, it's honestly, I would just tell you, try all items. Objectively, this is the best at the moment, no doubt. Try Triforce as well, though. It's a decent item still. If you're ahead in lane and you do think you need that attack speed to maybe be better in the game, have more carry potential, take Triforce. Same with a Sense Reaver. If you want to just full crit ranged enemies, you do want to go a Sense Reaver. This is more like melee somewhat carry if you're against more melee champs. And this is just a no-brainer. If you don't know what to do, go Divine Sunder. It's always your best options. For the boots, obviously those are those three that you want to take. Most of the time you do not want to take Lucidity. Again, only if you're ahead, I would go Lucidity. I would recommend those to you. They're still very strong. But Gangplank lacks MR or armor in with any other item. So as Gangplank, you're not going to build that much resistances. So if you're against like a Jax or an Irelia, you're always going to need those Ninja Tabis or Plated Steel Caps is their name. And if you're against a lot of CC or a ranged matchup that is AP or something, you always want to go Mercs as well. So here I've kind of composed some item builds that you want to do if you go whatever Sheen item. If you choose to go a Sense Reaver, you are obviously lacking a mythic item still. So you have two options. Either you go Shield Bow or you go Duskblade. Duskblade is definitely the more aggressive variant because it deals more damage and has like no security. It doesn't have the shield that Immortal Shield Bow is giving you. It has invisibility. I do prefer, if I go a Sense Reaver, I do prefer Shield Bow. The lifesteal is also very nice. You're lacking that if you have a Sense Reaver. The shield is very nice. It's gonna save you from bursts, and the Duskblade is just kind of a I want a 1v9 ASAP, and I do not care about defensive stats. And for the rest, you just want to go crit items in general. So when you do go Shield Bow, you do want to go Infinity Edge third, but don't do that if you go Duskblade second, because you're not going to profit from the passive that IE gives you. You need at least 60% crit to benefit from Infinity Edge. If you do go Duskblade, you can either go this or Lord Dominic's, and then just go Duskblade fourth item. Obviously, yeah, Duskblade is gonna delay you that IE power spike, but if you think you can get items in time, go ahead and try Duskblade. This is definitely a very aggressive build. This is I would only recommend this if you want to 1v9 a game. And with this build, you're also very squishy, and you have to be careful with your positioning. So that leads me to the next section, which is if you go Sunder. If you go Sunder, you have multiple options. In the past, Sterak's was your number one because Sterak's was stronger in the past. Sterak's has been nerfed a couple of times now. People tend to go either Gangplank or Ravenous Hydra these days. I think Ravenous Hydra is very interesting because you do have a lot of wave clear. You do have wave clear anyway, obviously, but Ravenous Hydra procs on every target you hit with your barrel. So it's definitely a bit more aggressive, but Gangplank second works perfectly fine as well. I've also seen people that go Serpent's Fang second if they want to have lethality or maybe just a shield burst. You can kind of choose between these four items, so maybe even like a Hex Drinker if it's like full AP. You are kind of open when you go Sunder. Definitely the most solid are these three. I think they are just very good bruiser items, and with this build, you are just gonna be a beefy Gangplank that deals a shit ton of damage. Because obviously, if you have Sunder, every legendary item you get, and this is like a very cheap legendary item, so this is also why it's pretty good. Every legendary item you get, you also get armor penetration. On top of your 40% that you already have on your barrels. So that is pretty disgusting. Also one reason why Sunder was strong in the past, but is even stronger after the buffs. With Triforce, it's kind of mixed in my opinion. I said here that you kind of have a mixed choice. With Triforce, you can either go into crit if you want to be more aggressive, or similar to the Sunder build, you can go like Sterak's and Hydra and Gangplank. You just can be a solid frontliner, but with that Triforce, you do kind of have the extra attack speed. It's kind of up to you what you want. Triforce, the benefit of Triforce is just, as said, the quality of life is best with the attack speed. It feels great to have Triforce. Objectively, it's not the best, but it does feel great to have Triforce. And if we have a look here at a pro builds, just to compare maybe what I'm saying, people kind of go everything. At the moment, of course, Sunder is most popular. We do see some people that go Triforce, also a Sense Reaver is seen sometimes, but again, like, there's no clear item build to Gangplank. You always have to adapt on the game. If you say, oh shit, I have Sunder, but they still have a lot of burst, you want to go Steric second. If you think Hydra, I need AoE damage or whatever, then Ravenous Hydra is your choice. But I just want to tell you that objectively, Sunderer is at the moment the best item you can have. Especially with the build, it's just super solid. You're a beefy frontliner, but you do have the choices still. This is definitely still very viable if you want to carry a game and close out a game on your own. That's basically it. Yeah. If you do have any questions about my builds, by the way, that I am showing here, or maybe different stuff, I don't know, just feel free to ask in the comments. Some people have said that they want me to release some kind of guide as I'm doing right now. Yeah, as said, I do stream on Twitch. I'm gonna link my Twitch if you want to see. I do educational streams sometimes, educational games. If you want to learn more, I'm also gonna answer every comment. If you have any questions about the champion or the builds, or if you disagree with something, I can maybe answer you or correct myself. But if you do enjoy this video and if you think it's helpful, consider liking and maybe come check out my Twitch if you want. I am gonna stream and maybe release some kind of highlight video in the future. That's it for me. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed. So see you next time, guys.